Some families choose to home educate because they see that the only way that they can have that true personalised learning and freedom is at home. And it doesn't actually mean being at home all the time, because there's an awful lot of home ed groups where people meet up with lots of other like-minded educators. And I've worked with lots of home ed families, and everybody does it differently. And that's part of the magic of home education, but also part of the challenge when they meet up as a group. So some people might be having really unschooling, so the children are in charge of everything, and other families have bought a curriculum and are following that curriculum at home. And so some families may be home educating not because of the progressive or this democratic reasons, but for religious reasons. So some are following more religious schooling at home. So there are a vast variety of differences, and what's exciting in the UK is that you can do whatever you want. If your child never goes to school, then you're not on the register at all. But if your child goes into school, all you need to do is write a letter to your school saying, I want to educate otherwise, and someone will come and visit you and check that your child is safe. But the freedom is there in the type of schooling that you undertake. Whereas in other countries, it is more challenging, and it's illegal in Germany. And when I was in Portugal, I was chatting to a friend, and she was saying that she was home educating her daughter, but when her child was 9, she would have to take an exam. And if she passed the exam, it would be okay to keep going. But if not, then you need to go to school. And then, for example, in the States, this has been helpful for me actually in teaching. They have to buy into a curriculum. So when they say they're home educating, they have to say, well, I bought this Steiner or this Montessori or this home ed curriculum, and show it to the person who's come to check on them to prove that they're meeting the state expectations for schooling. So it's no way as free.
And I can imagine that homeschooling must be like really, don't want to say difficult, but maybe also time challenging for the parents. So how they usually cope with that?
It's expensive to home educate because you can't go to work, or you have to work in the evenings, or you have to work maybe part-time and swap the home education with another family. People do that, and they work in co-ops. So one day a week they'll have groups of families together, and somebody else might have to work that day. But it does mean that it's very much a conscious family choice, and it'll either be families that can afford it, or families that have decided that they're going to really be on a low income because this is what they want for their children. But as somebody who's run groups for home educating families, what's challenging is that I want to make a living, but I can't charge very much for my sessions because people are having to pay for it, but they don't have much money because they're choosing to home educate. So you sort of get a bit of a negative spiral there, where nobody's got any money, and to offer more things, it would be nice to have a little bit more money. But what's been quite good is some councils have offered home education activities, like forest schools for home educating families, or craft workshops, or museums have open times for home educating families. And a lot of colleges will let students come in to take exams there if people want to take exams. So it's really interesting to see. And again, like all of this progressive education, it's so varied, so varied. It can be very challenging, and it can be, so yeah, very different.
It differs family from the family, doesn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I found interesting, like you said, with the co-op. Do you have any experience with any co-op that would, for example, like one family would stay at home like one day a week and educate, or something like that?
I've had groups of friends who've tried to organise things like that, but mostly it's been on the side where one of my friends is a teacher herself, and so she's often run activities. People, I know that it's in the pipeline where people are discussing that as a way forward, especially when they can't afford to go to an independent school, or there isn't the choice for a progressive school locally, and they don't want their child to go to their local state school. So yeah, I think it's possibly one of the ways forward to have these co-ops where you could get different experts involved as well, especially as children become older. So teenagers might be involved, want to work with, I spoke to someone who making work with a sound technician, for example, or somebody who's making electronic music. which a mother might not, or a father might not know about, but they might have a family friend who can be involved in working with a group of people. So it's sharing expertise, I think. Community co-ops, I suppose.
And do you think there should be some kind of like quality assurance for these groups, that, you know, the children get good education?
But what is good education? That's the challenge. You see, once you start putting something in a box, you've got limitations. I mean, children need to know that they're safe and that children are not being abused and they're healthy and they've got food and all things like that. But once there's control, the joy about home education at the moment is the freedom. Absolute freedom to be creative and to have pure personalized learning to your child's needs. So it's a challenging one. Once there is checking, then you're not losing that freedom. So I'm not sure how that works out.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, for example, when, for example, my parents have different interests than I. So if I had homeschooling, I'm not sure if they would naturally steer me towards their interest rather than, you know, allowing me really to explore mine, because we always expect from ourselves.
Yes, I know that's very true. But if you were in charge of the learning, so if you said to your parents, "I'm really into biology," and it wasn't something that they were really into, there's lots of learning online, or there could have been lots of books that you could get involved with, or there might be a biology group or something that you could get involved with. It depends on you. I think in home education, you do expect, or there is the possibility for children to be involved in directing their learning a lot more.